Hey there, welcome to episode 48 of Fresh Air at 5, the podcast, and this is my opportunity to bring you a little bit of news going on in my space, in my neighborhood. This week we get a bit of update from the flood and some recovery and restoration things that are going on, and I bring you some conversations from a house in the floodplain at the beginning of the week. And then I took a break because I had my COVID shot and it actually really affected me, and I was pretty sore the next day, but got back onto it and bring you some other great content this week. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned, and appreciate you taking a listen to episode 48 Fresh Air the podcast. Here goes.
I'm Amber Harper from the Burned In Teacher Podcast and a part of the Education Podcast Network, just like the show you're listening to now. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting education podcasts at edupodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to Fresh Air at 5, the podcast. I'm your host, Brian Carpenter. Fresh Air at 5 is my regular attempt to exercise by walking about my neighborhood to take in podcast content, then reflect in an unedited video, which I finally post to my Twitter channel. This podcast will be a regular collection of the audio from these selfie videos. You can follow me on Twitter at FreshAirAtFive or check out my website, briancarpenter.com, for other content I have created and collected. Hey PLN, it's Monday, November 22nd, 2021, and in the afternoon this morning I did not go for my walk, and I was sore because I spent the day yesterday here at my buddy's place and we were tearing out drywall and doing demolition, because if you look out here, out there into the field, that lake isn't supposed to be there, and this room, we were 2 feet up to here, with water inside the house, and so this happened during the flood of 2021 that just happened, and so I'm out here doing this, helping out this afternoon, doing some demolition, pulling some drywall out in the office here, and so I didn't go for my walk. But this afternoon I'm starting to listen to podcasts while I'm working, and I listened to 3 Questions That Inspire with George Couros, and he had Tori, Denny, and Melisa LeBlanc, and Stacy Richards. I apologize. I looked a couple seconds ago before I started recording and I got your names wrong. Correction, Tori Denny's, Jenny Richards, and Melisa LeBlanc. But these 3 ladies talked about the administrators and teachers and advice that they would give each other as the first year teachers, and the whole thing about straying from the curriculum and sticking too close to the curriculum. It's important that we are being relevant with our students, so when there's things that are going on that we talk about those. Right now, one of the things that's going on in our curriculum, and not in our curriculum, but in classrooms, is talking about the flood. And why did the flood happen, and about Sumas Lake. So if you want to check out more of what's going on here in British Columbia, we have check Google Abbotsford Flood 2021, and I am out in the Arnold community right now working in my buddy's place. So thanks so much, George and Melissa and Stacy, and I can't remember. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. But anyhow, this is the beginning of episode 48 of Fresh Air at 5, the podcast. Peace out. Bye. One more thing for November 22, 2021. Okay, so I'm out here in the flood zone and listening to Mindset Monday with George Couros, episode 8 on Innovators Mindset Podcast. And George, you brought us, today's Mindset Monday is about facing hard truths and how we have to face them, and we got to deal with them, and we have to acknowledge them, because if we try to hide from them, then it's not going to work. And you know what? There's a connection to this thing that's going on right here. And I came out here today to do some demolition at my buddy's place, and I had to take drywall out of the walls. And if you don't take the drywall out after there's a flood and there's water up in the drywall, and you kind of ignore it, then it gets really, really stinky after a little while. So you got to make sure you get it get in there and you got to take care of it. And, it felt so weird to go, okay, I got to snap a chalk line, cut a line, and just rip this thing out. And we have to be able to do that. And so that's like a lot of things. But if we kind of try to avoid them and not face them, being problem finders but not problem solvers, it's important. It's important to have the skill of being a problem finder, but there's a lot of people that can be problem finders. I'm an armchair coach during the NHL hockey games as I watch the Canucks play, and I can tell them how to do all kinds of things. But am I a problem solver with that? I have no idea how to help the team become better at that. And we need people that are skilled to do those things. So we all got our spaces and roles, and we got to make sure that we are solving problems and being problem solvers when problems are identified, and making sure that when we do identify problems, we do acknowledge those problems. All right, that's it. Happy day. Bye-bye. Hey, PLN, Wednesday, November 24, 2021. And yesterday, you may have noticed that I wasn't out on Twitter at all. I was quiet yesterday. You're like, what's going on with Carpenter? Well, on Monday, I had my third dose of the Pfizer vaccine as a booster. And so we've got a booster program here in Canada that I was privileged to get in on early. So I had my third dose, and that third dose actually kicked my butt. I woke up yesterday morning achy and sore on my arm, and my body was aching, and I had to actually leave school early in the day, just after lunch, after my teaching responsibilities were done, to go home. And I had a nap yesterday because I was so sore and feeling so junky. So that's where I was yesterday, and that's the reality that, I just can't power through anything. And if you haven't got your vaccine, I would recommend you go get your vaccine. You might have your reasons, and that's personal, that's up to you. But for me, I believe it's important for our community and our society that we get vaccinated for COVID. So that's my thought, my little soapbox there. This morning, as I get up and get going, I am feeling encouraged today. I saw the news about the flood and about how the water is going down, and the significant rain event that was supposed to hit us yesterday got pushed back in the weather. Another atmospheric river is supposed to be slamming the west coast of British Columbia, and we're going to get a lot of rain. But the dike system that failed, the water level has gone down. The dike's been repaired to a state of it can hang on for a bit until the weather gets really, really good. Then they're going to rebuild it in the summer, I think, like that. So yes. All right. So that's a bit about where I'm at and how it's going. It's a beautiful morning out this morning. The moon is up, the clouds are high, and we're not supposed to get rain until much later. So there's the update on the flood and a little bit about that. So, all right. So I'm going to get on to what I listened to just a moment ago in One More Thing. Be right back. One more thing for November 24, 2021, out for Fresh Air at 5 this morning. And as I promised to myself that I was going to take a dig at listening to podcasts in the Educational Podcast Network that I have not listened to yet, I am on my second new to me podcast that's been there for a while, and that is the one by Amber Harper called the Burned In Teacher Podcast. And I saw the name and I'm like, burned in, what does that mean? And so I started listening, and it took me just a few seconds to realize that what Amber's podcast is about and the Burned In Teacher Tribe Mastermind is about, and her course about Burned In, it's about those that have experienced a level of burnout as teachers and how we need to recapture our lives, and we need to set boundaries, and we need to have a buddy, and we need to be present more than we are absent, because we are important in our spaces as teachers, as husbands and wives, as parents, and community members. And so this morning, Amber, I just wanted to give a big shout out to you because you are doing great work. I'm hearing it. There's evidence in this podcast alone, episode 122, as you had discussed Burned In Buddies with Heather and Kim, who are part of your Burned In Teacher Tribe, and just they told their story about how it's important to have someone that's there that can listen all the time. They don't even need to be physically in the same space, but we need to be present with each other. And something that I do, and I'm not part of the mastermind, and something that I do is I've got Twitter, and I've got my PLN or PLF, as Fonz Mendoza calls it, Professional Learning Family. And those people that are in my PLN are really important to me. And there are some that I reach out to and talk to. And during COVID, I'd reach out and talk to certain other podcasters and go, hey, what is going on? So having your community around you so that you can make sure you're moving forward, so important, so key. So if you are feeling burned out or know someone it is, recommend them the Burned In Teacher Podcast with Amber Harper. Peace out. Have a great day. Bye. One more thing for November 24, 2021. I just listened to episode 139 of the Easy EdTech Classroom with Dr. Monica Burns, and Monica brings us time-saving tips in YouTube. And I'm like, oh, come on. What's she really going to say? And well, Monica, you said 5 things here, and you've got another 13 in a graphic that you've provided to us for free that we can get to through the show notes of episode 139 of Easy EdTech Classroom. And so, people, you listen up. Listen. If you're on YouTube and you don't know these things, you need to know these things. Number 1 is you can start a video anywhere in the video by putting a timestamp there that is shared in the share link by checking a box. So that's important. Number 2, look for people that have content that you're interested in and look at their channels. So that's really important that you can do searches for specific types of content. Number 3 is to subscribe to said channels so that you get notifications when new videos or opportunities like live streams are coming. You'll get notifications for those things, which is super important. Number 4, look for different types of videos. Like you can take your kids on virtual field trips with 360 videos that allow you students and yourself to look around the screen, move up and down, and be present more so than looking at just a single camera pointed in one direction kind of video. And the last one is, what's the last one? Oh, there's 5. 5 there are. Okay, it'll come to me in a second. But these are the 5 tips that she shares on the podcast. And so important. Hang on. Yeah, I can't remember, but it's there. So you should go back and listen. Like I'm going to go back and listen to find out what number 5 is, because it's a little teaser. It's a really good one. It is a very good one. But yes, thanks, Monica, for your podcast. Appreciate it. And keep on doing what you're doing. Have a fabulous day. I am thankful for you, as it is Thanksgiving week for you in the United States. Okay, bye.
All right, after review, tip number 5 was playback speed. You can play back videos at a faster speed. Thanks.
All right, the last thing for November 24, 2021. This morning, my learning by listening to podcasts on FreshAirAtFive and reflecting was that it's important to belong somewhere. I listened to the Burned In Teacher podcast with Amber Harper, episode 122. She had on guests Kim and Heather talking about their teacher buddy program and how they are buddies and they can support each other every day. I listened to Dr. Monica Burns on the Easy EdTech podcast as she talked about the Easy EdTech Club and how you can join the Easy EdTech Club to have community and be part of a learning space where she provides content that is more than just on the podcast and on our website. What am I saying about this? I think it's really important that we have our space that is outside of our school, that is a community of people of like-mindedness that will be there to support you and challenge you as you grow through a journey of something. My little group that I'm part of that I just joined is the Classy Graphics class with Tony Vincent of fall of 2021. And there's about 40 to 50 of us that are taking part in this course. And it's all optional. We have signed up for it, and it's about learning how to use Google Drawings so that we can expedite our graphic creations and be more, better designers and thinking about design and how we can do those things. things. So I'm thankful to be part of this course. It's a 6-week course. There's a cohort of us that are working through this. We comment on each other's works. We, share video like through Flipgrid so we can see each other's faces. And it's great, Tony, to be part of this little community. Other places that I'm a part of the Teachers on Fire group, and I'm on their Facebook page, and Tim's a personal friend of mine. So, just having people that are close by that you can reach out to and talk to, and my PLN, like I talked about in the last couple segments. All right, that's it. So where do you belong on the internet? What's your group of people that are there to support you, and not just belonging for the sake of belonging, but that it actually makes a difference in your life? All right, that's it. Have a fabulous day. Okay, bye. Hey PLN, it is Thursday, November 25, 2021. Happy U.S. Thanksgiving to all my PLN and PLF in the United States. And I'm thankful I am that, we have such a community, and that I can reach out and get connected with so many fabulous people south of our border. This morning, it's beginning to rain. It's been raining all night, and here where I live, that's causing some trauma for some people, because the rain isn't new for southwestern British Columbia, but the volume of rain that we had a week ago, 200 millimeters in about 48 hours, caused a significant problem where we had flooding in the prairie below us, and farmland got covered in water, and blueberry plants are dying, and cattle are dying because, the dairy farms aren't able to get their cows out, and all that kind of stuff. And so if you're not sure what I'm talking about, Google Abbotsford flood 2021, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So we've been recovering this past week. The community has been fabulous, and I am high and dry and safe where I live. And it doesn't look like I'm high and dry right now, but it's just raining where I am. Down in the valley, the water's getting down there. So anyhow, so that's what's going on here today. So just your thoughts and prayers for our town, and that the Nooksack River in northern Washington would not overflow its banks, because that's where a lot of the water came from. Okay, so where am I at? Got it, 40 seconds. I listened to episode 190 of the House of EdTech. And Chris, Nessie, appreciate you, man. I appreciate you so much. You're incredible at what you do. You had on guest Lena, the tech guru, and go take a listen to this episode, because there's a lot of great truth bombs in this episode. And I can't remember all of them because I was just so intent on just hearing the enthusiasm that Chris and Lena have. So take a listen to that. Fabulous. Appreciate it, Lena. Keep doing what you're doing. Go on to subscribe to your channel when I get home. Have a great day, everybody. Bye. One more thing for November 25, 2021. I just want to talk about perspective, because I think perspective is so critical in how we look at problems and the volume and the mass of work or something that we have to do. And as we began teaching, it was very much about function and getting it done before it became fancy, though we had a lot of pressure to make it fancy, because we saw those teachers around us that were making it fancy, and as student teachers we want to make it fancy, but we had to understand the functional. This gets back to what Jake Miller was talking about recently, about function over fancy, and so important that we keep our perspective of where we're at in our own learning as we go. Perspective. This morning I stepped out the door and my watch said light rain, and so light rain to me means barely raining. Well, that barely raining is like a normal rain, and I stepped out into it because today we're getting an atmospheric river event that is going to deliver about 2 to 3 inches of rain today in the next 24 hours, and that is pretty heavy rain. Around here, when we get 10 millimeters of rain, we're talking that's like about half an inch that we got a lot of rain. But when we get something like this, it's so much more. It's about perspective. What are you doing with the weather? What are you doing with the heat? In the summer, we experienced 45 degrees Celsius here in Abbotsford, which is pushing about 110 or so, which we don't normally get And then when it got down to 35 degrees Celsius, which is in the high 90s, we're like, oh, so cool. It's about perspective. So what's going on with you right now that you can use to reflect on your perspective on your situation? How much EdTech are you using? How much resources are you using compared to maybe how you were doing 5 or 10 years ago, or where you will be in the future? Make sure you're not comparing yourself to those around you in a negative way. Compare so that you can grow and have smarter people around you. All right, that's my little rant. Soapbox, bye. Later on the same day, almost 12 hours from when I was recording last on November 25, 2021, out wrapping up papers this afternoon and enjoying the atmospheric river that is falling from the sky and raising the water level everywhere. This afternoon, I listened to episode 99 of Got Tech, the podcast with Eric and Nick. And thank you, gentlemen, for the loaded podcast with great shares that you had put out so that we could follow along with people as they do different things. Books to read, podcasts to listen to, educators to follow, and hey, cool connection. I'm in Tony Vincent's classy graphics class right now and am working on that this fall. I'm learning a ton of things about Google Drawings and things that I can apply and teach my students in my classroom. Super fantastic. And also shapegrams are brilliant. Was working with my grade 3 to 5 students with those and passing them along to our middle school students as well. So great resources that Tony's got. And if you are interested in upping your graphic design game, I would encourage you to step into his classy graphics course the next time he runs it, which would be cohort number 10, probably in the spring or something like that. Don't know exactly, but that's my understanding that he does it more often than not. All right, that's about it for today, boys. We'll see you later. Finishing up papers. Have a great day. Okay, bye. Hey, PLN Friday, November 26, 2021, and we are at the end of a very wet, short rain event that happened over all of day yesterday. And you may have caught that I was out in the rain in the morning and the afternoon walking, and it was a lot of water. I don't know how the damage out in the floodplain was, but we will have to wait and see later today how much the water level rose and how everybody's doing out there today. All right, so that'll happen. Sun will come up later. We're apparently supposed to get sunshine this afternoon, which would be fantastic for a little bit. Yes. All right, today's Pro D Day for myself, and I'm looking forward to working on my Adobe Creative Educator Level 2 and doing some Canva work and basically expanding my graphic design mindset a little bit and stretching and thinking about graphic design a little bit more. So just a plug, Tim Cavey and Scott Nunes and myself will be on Teachers on Fire Roundtable tomorrow morning. So if you are free at 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, that is at 8 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time, 11 o'clock a.m. on the East Coast, Tim and Scott and myself are going to be creating in Canva. This is not a paid endorsement by Canva. It is something we just want to do. So join us and engage with us through YouTube or Facebook or even on Twitter. All right. So this morning I listened to episode 98 of the EdTech Bites podcast with Gabriel Carrillo. And thank you, Gabe, for your work that you're doing. And you know what? This morning you threw to us 10 different follows, 5 on Twitter, 5 on Instagram, and then a couple others on different spaces for hashtags to follow in different places. And so that was great. I was proud to say that I follow all 5 Twitter people, and I think I follow maybe 2, if not maybe just 1 Instagrammer, because I'm not on the Instagram platform a whole lot. So, but you need some people to follow people. Take a listen to this episode because Gabe has dropped it. All right, happy day. Talk to you more in a minute. Bye. one more thing for November 26, 2021. I just listened to the Ignite EdTech podcast with Craig Kemp, and thank you, Craig, for yet another episode 74, as you talked about LMSs and how to select an LMS and looking for an LMS for your school and district. And so in British Columbia here, we have just been chosen for us as a provincial service provider model, the LMS D2L. So that's what the British Columbia government has chosen through a criteria process, and now it's up for us individual schools to jump on board and learn D2L. I'm excited about learning about D2L, Brightspace, and what that can offer for us. Currently in my space, so we're using Moodle, and that's the learning management system that we are currently using for our online delivery, and our face-to-face delivery in my classroom is Google Classroom. So Google Classroom does not do anything near what the bigger LMSs do, but it is very responsive and allows me on the spot to provide content for students, archive that, and I can reuse that at a later date. All right, so this morning as I was listening, Craig, you talked with Jennifer Bloomingdale. She is a developer in the EduSpark World learning platform that you guys have hosted and are working on providing course content. And so thank you, Jennifer, for sharing your insights into your creative work that you do and being part of the educational creation space and helping creators get their content into EduSpark World. So fantastic to hear and learn from you this morning. All right, it's not raining very much today, and I see that the Highway 1 that was closed between Chilliwack and Abbotsford is open, so that is great news. We've had a flood here, and the highway was closed for about a week and a half, stranding people out that way. All right, they're coming back into town now, and we're able to make and move goods around the province a lot faster. All right, have a great day, everybody. Talk to you soon. Okay, bye. Another one more thing for November 26, 2021, Teachers on Fire, episode 210. Tim Cavey brings us a Spark episode entitled, Are We Using Too Many Apps? And where does this go? This goes into EdTech apps and what are we bringing to the table every day for our students and how we get them to use different tools in our educational space. What are the demands on our students, and are we providing too much variation, too much variation, or are we sticking to something consistently for a while to have them develop their skills and grow their understanding of these tools? I am about learning personally, this is me personally, learning about apps so that I am aware of the apps and tools that are there. I liken this to, and I've talked to Jake Miller about this, walking into Home Depot, going into the tool section and being overwhelmed at first by the number of types of hammers that I could pick up, or types of screwdrivers. But I have to understand what I'm trying to get at and go, okay, I'm gonna pick this one and I'm gonna get really good with this hammer. And so, is that hammer gonna solve all my problems for everything? No, but if it solves my problems for one thing or a few things quite well, then dig into that and become an expert at that. All right, so Tim, great conversation. I'm all about having a tool belt that has fewer EdTech tools in it than the educational EdTech hardware store that has many, many tools in it. Figuring out what you're trying to get at and to use is really important. Take a look at Jake Miller's educational duct tape book and Jake's metaphor for how we decide on what tool to use for a given task. All right, tomorrow morning I'm going to be on not educational duct tape. Jake was on that recently, but on Teachers on Fire Roundtable with Tim Cavey and Scott Nunes, as we have a Canva clinic, and we are going to be digging into doing some Canva creations, and this is, for me, a little bit of a outside of my comfort zone, but here we go. Have some fun and learn some stuff. Have a good day. Bye-bye. As my one word for 2021 is appreciate, I appreciate you giving me a listen as I've created this podcast experience for you. It's a unique Blinkist or Coles Notes version of the content I take in, like a highlight reel, so that you can hopefully find other interesting podcasts you may not have considered before. I've recorded the specific podcast episodes in the show notes for your learning convenience. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming episodes. And if you enjoy this podcast and its format, share it with someone else. Tweet about your experience or give it a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. Fresh Air at 5 can also be found on Voice Ed Radio. Your voice is right here, and on the Education Podcast Network, podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. I hope you have a fantastic day and get some fresh air before the day is out, and take care of yourself because you're worth it.